Crispy. It's funny. Nobody knows your name's actually Crispy. So if you didn't know, Christopher Barnett's actual name is Crispy.
That's right.
Now you learned something new. Okay, the thing we're talking about today, we're always talking about how to make solutions partners or service companies more durable by design. So I have a scenario today as we think about it. Let's chat about this. This probably happens to you a lot. It happens to me. People pushing my DMs.
Yep.
And they'll say, hey, Matt, hey, Crispy, what? I'm stuck. I have about 5 people in my agency. 2 are FTs. The rest of them are contractors. And help me. What do you tell them? What is the advice you give to somebody that feels stuck?
Yeah. So first, if they start their message with, I hope this finds you well, auto rejection.
Yeah. So everybody knows this. I hate what's the word? Filler context. So if you don't mean it, don't say it. And you don't hope it finds me well. You hope I'll say yes to meeting with you. So just say, I want to meet. Just say what you mean. Okay, keep going.
I hope this finds you just awful.
Yeah.
just awful. Yeah. But more on a serious note, I often ask about what work are you delivering? And I try to poke at, are you just saying yes to everything? And if so, that's dumb. And it's often the pathway that a lot of smaller partners take as they're scaling, which is natural. I did the same thing. And looking back, saying yes to every type of service is bad, but it's because you see dollar signs flashing at you. And you have to know what to focus on in a really intense way in order to scale. And so usually what I find is, especially in our channel program, as part of our cohort, I ask them, are you servicing your customers with in-house resources, outsourced, or a mix of both? And oftentimes the outsourced ones are marketing services, stuff like that. It's because they're saying yes to that recurring revenue, but they don't have the manpower to push it behind the scenes. And so I always tell them, and focus very intensely on 3 things, maximum 4 service offerings.
Yeah, I would often dance on the street for money when I was starting at the beginning. I would take money from anybody. And there's just a reality of that it's so easy as you hear people critique people that come in and they'll say, you just got to focus more. You're I'm trying to feed my family and I can't focus right now.
Yeah.
But there is a reality where you have to, and I'll say you have to burn the ships. You got to say I will not accept. And that first time you say no, it's so scary. But you have to focus. You have to focus. You have to focus. And niche in some capacity, whether it's industry or services. Yeah. The other thing I hear when I'm talking to somebody often, there's this truth, and getting this right, and there's a whole lot to talk about on this specific topic. We'll cover it later. Is at its core, a service business is what? Producing experiences through whom or through what? Not technology, through people. And because of that, what happens, and I've heard you talk about it as well, is there tends to be a pattern of extreme growth, plateau extreme growth. You'll often see growth, plateau, and the growth actually gets smaller, the plateau gets longer, and it feels like it's the right thing to do in the moment. I need to stop because I'm breaking my business. And this is where I actually say it's wrong. What you need to do, the thing you should never do, is ever take your foot off the freaking gas. So I from the very beginning, I just big, strong. Make as much freaking demand as possible and never stop making as much freaking demand as possible, ever. Because once you do, it gets harder and harder to restart that. And I think when you think of the 2, you think of the 3, you think of 4 people, 5 people shops, is they have often always stopped because they were trying to get retention better or delivery better. And growth fixes a lot of things. And there's reality, you have to get to a certain point before you can start breathing. And so this last is, do you really want to scale? Because it's going to kill you.
This is exactly why being an entrepreneur is not cut out for everyone. Just very plainly, if you are not ready to put things on the line in order to be successful, you will not get to where you want to go. It's very risk it for the biscuit type of thing. And part of that is you have to hustle, and it's a nonstop hustle for years at a time. And it's tough.
Yeah. And this comes a lot of the heart of super, is like going through that this whole reason we created it is so that it's not as hard. But the reality, it doesn't matter. Even if you have a platform like super that makes it easier, gives you more, like it is still hard and you're going to have to make a risk and it will cost you something. So when I'm talking to, I'm often just, I feel like more like a cheerleader. I'm like, are you ready? Can you do it? Are you going to push it? That's number one.
Yeah.
I guess you got a niche.
Yeah.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word? Are you willing to be tenacious? Mm-hmm. And the third is because you're producing people. The only way you can produce people, because when you sell services, who do people buy when you sell services? They buy the founder. They buy you in the sales process.
Yep.
And you can, like, in the moment, just change. And the only way to scale is if you can replicate yourself after the sales process.
Yeah.
And the first thing that must happen is not you getting out of sales. It's going to be like, you should not get out of sales. The first thing that has to happen is you get out of delivery, which means you must have a methodology that sounds good and that you can, like, give people some kind of framework and boundaries to deliver. Yeah.
And the pain point with that is in the world of service providers, out of your entire customer list, guess who's on the bottom? It's like you. You're on the bottom. Like, it's hard to prioritize time to work on the business, and that's why it becomes like going back to the vicious cycle of growth plateau. The reason that happens is because you land so much business, then you have to service that. It takes away from selling time. Mm-hmm. And you can't go back into the service side after you sell if you want to continue on that growth pathway and go this way. And so this is a part of the things that I tell, like, people that I'm talk to in, like, the community, is when they're trying to build something, you need to try to standardize the way that you're delivering your services as much as possible, because that's the easiest thing to hand off to someone if you want to replicate yourself, is the way that you're delivering services and the way that the customer experiences that. And so it's a lot easier to, like, founder-led sales is great because founders hustle, they're going back to the tenacity thing, like, those that work in sales have a tenacious desire to succeed, and founders have that same level of, like, aggression towards that. And so that delivery methodology being passed off to someone else is big time. That's how you create an engine that's repeatable.
Yeah, you hit a trigger for me. I'm going to sit on it for a hot second. You hit a hot button issue for me. And it's I think it's dog poo. Complete hot, smelling, flaming pile of hot do. You feel like say something different. Is when someone comes to me, and I talk to a lot of partners, or let me use the word, I talk to a lot of service companies, even outside HubSpot at this point, right? Talking to people. And every single one of them, because they can't, and it's not their fault, they're so in their sales process, they can't get out of it sometimes. I'm custom, I'm boutique. And it's what helps them win deals. And I'm like, I know you see that pretty girl over there, but those are all basic girls. I'm a bad girl. You know, I get you, but you still put your panties on. You still put, you still have. There's like a path. There's some things you do. I'm like, when you put it as, there's a reality that the faster you realize everybody puts pants on, and yes, it may look a little bit different, but everybody fundamentally puts pants on and wears clothes when they go outside. You're not in a nudist community, so you're going outside. And what that translates to in the service company is, like, it's all a mirage. Like, everybody, you create a methodology that you've just named and claimed. Probably you've ripped it off somebody else. That's okay. You've innovated in some way. And what people buy is the experience and the way you make them feel.
Yep.
And that is the standardization of the experience.
Yep.
And people think, oh, they're buying my, like, IP or knowledge. No, they're not. They're buying how you make them feel. And often the outcomes come after, and they only come when you think about a problem in a specific way, in a specific order. And they always, because business or you look different, but the way of thinking is the same.
Yeah.
And you've already hit it. Standardize how you deliver, how you make people feel, and then teach people to talk the way you talk and think the way you talk, and, like, the same mannerisms that you have. And I spent way too much. I still spend too much time saying, you interrupt, like, teaching people. I just taught people to do the things we did.
Yeah.
And if I was talking to someone 2 or 3, the more time you spend, like, decoupling the principles that you have and the way you act from who you are and turning it into a methodology, the faster you'll scale.
Yep. Yeah, and tell a lot of. I would tell customers this like back in the day. They say, "Oh, we're unique. We're a special use case," and I was like, "You're not." Like, it's just simple. You're not. Like, and it's not like you're any less valuable or the thing that you're doing is not like any less important. But it's just, oh, we deliver custom and bespoke. It's fucking everyone does. It's like it's not unique enough to be like someone who stands out. This is not. That's not the case. And so, like, there's 6,000 partners in our ecosystem alone. You're not unique, man. There's likely dozens, if not hundreds, of other businesses doing the same thing that you're doing. And it's like that the unique distinguishment is not, oh, we approach things differently or like we're RevOps driven. There's like probably 5 agencies in the ecosystem that are actually RevOps driven. And it's about the experience of how you're delivering that to the customer is really what makes you like valuable and unique. And this is where like touching on a topic that I tell entrepreneurs as well is bespoke custom is great, but it's not special. Like it's just not. It's not unique in the ecosystem. B, you need to distinguish yourself between, are you going to be an implementer or are you going to be a consultant? Because there's a clear difference between those. And I find that in the top performing partners, the ones that are really revolutionizing the way that things are being done in our community lean more towards the consultant side. And so the implementers are the ones that are like, customer says, hey, can you go write me a workflow that sets close dates automatically to 30 days out? Yes, I will do that. Implementer, right? Consultants are why? What are you trying to achieve? What is it that you're looking to go for? And things like that. And the ones that are more custom and bespoke lean more towards the side of being a consultant, which is good. And that's exactly how you can retain customers and build that longevity and be more strategic in your relationships. But yeah, ultimately you're not any more special than like the company you're bidding against in your sales cycle when you're selling marketing enterprise or whatever. Like it's likely that even if it's an industry specific use case, it's going to get developed in the exact same way. There's going to be the same object architecture, same data points, same measurements and reporting, same automation. Just a matter of, do you deliver it better than the other person? That's what it is.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So we're talking to this fake, let's call her Jennifer. We just finished talking to Jennifer. We said, Jennifer, you need to niche, get really focused on how you're going to win, start saying no to things. It's going to be scary. We understand. Number 2, stopping. Always focus on demand. Never stop producing demand. Because if you have enough demand, what do? You raise prices. That's what you do. And you can use it to land more deals the more demand you have. So never stop. Number 3 is standardize the delivery process, which very explicitly means this, how you make people feel, because that will allow you to hire FTEs, not contractors, because you have to make the switch the faster, the sooner. And the last thing I would say is, just as a point, if I was talking to Jennifer, would be every service company is the same in the sense that they all have the same business model, which means they use people to service problems. And I would spend time thinking about how I'm delivering capacity. So I have demand, and how I package that demand into capacity matters a lot. And that starts getting into pricing. It starts, are you doing hours? Are you doing value? Which I think would be a whole nother discussion for us as we talk about it. But like, think about it. And I would, and if you're thinking about those things, it's going to be really hard to fail if you already have momentum. Okay, Crispy, anything else to add? To Jennifer, what else would you do? One parting pearl of wisdom.
Yeah, for our ecosystem, be vulnerable and willing to share your experience with others as well. I think a lot of this is where the lack of uniqueness in agencies is really that's the vein that I'll touch on with this part is like people want to hide the thing that they're doing because they feel like, oh, the way I onboard HubSpot is special and I don't want anyone else to know about it. It's not really how that works, man. You're not building something that you own inside of HubSpot, at least as a service provider, that is so special that you should be unwilling to share that kind of stuff. For example, when people come to me on LinkedIn, I'm giving them resources that I was using during my workflow days. Of, hey, here's my RevOps plan that I use to service customers and stuff like that. And I'll give it to them on like conversation 1. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, it's because I'm trying to contribute back to the community and like not feed into this vicious cycle of people withholding and not being vulnerable to help out like other entrepreneurs. Because like that pissed me off. Like when I was up and coming is I asked for help from people And it was often like go to hell, or I would be on Zoom meetings with people and hey, I'm here to kind of learn, blah, blah, blah. And I had people leaving Zoom meetings. I had horror stories of this stuff when I was up and coming. And I'm like, that fucking just drove me crazy during that process. And I always made an intentional effort to help out others as much as I possibly could, because no one did it for me, and I want to make sure that I can like help contribute to that. And so it goes both ways, which is, so final point for Jennifer is be vulnerable in your relationships, because that's what leads to authenticity. And that's like the people that are the best and the most tenacious and like the best leaders, like in business generally, like the best characteristic is vulnerability. And so lesson, not so much as like a HubSpot partner founder, but as like a entrepreneur and business person, is be vulnerable.
I agree. Sum up this last one, it is, you're not unique. Every problem that you're going through, everyone else is going through too.
Yep.
Your HubSpot's growing wicked fast, and they actually, let me tell you a really crazy problem. They don't have enough partners to service their deals, and they're really scared about it, and they're trying to find people, and they might even be trying to go outside HubSpot.
There's a big blue ocean out there.
I just want to be reality is, you like need to help HubSpot because there's too many deals. There's actually too many deals, and there's not actually enemies. There's people that can help.
Yep.
Okay, Crispy, we'll end with this like we always do. Something no one knows about you because you believe in vulnerability so much. Why do you love Arsenal?
Oh, good question. I was brainwashed from an early age to be an Arsenal fan. And so when I was up and coming, I had family members who were Arsenal fans. And so that kind of dripped out onto me as a kid and stuck with them ever since. So it's been a tough journey, but it's often the thing that, especially with like our EMEA partners, when they get on a call, first 10 minutes are always them ripping me about being an Arsenal fan. Yeah, it's fun, but yeah, that's why.
I love it. You brainwashed at an early age, and they're good. Every once in a 55 decades, they're good right now, so it's great. Okay, appreciate you, Crispy. Appreciate everybody. Stay awesome, and let's all go and be durable by design with tenacity. Adios, everybody.